This meeting is now being recorded.
Okay, welcome Derby agents. Glad everyone got that update on SHRM, and we'll continue to provide updates from Josh as well at the beginning of these meetings going forward, so that for those of you that have the time and want to join us, that'd be great. Now I got the pleasure of introducing to you Austin Evans, who's the Vice President of Sales and Carrier Marketing for Fathom Voice, and we've had Fathom Voice as a solutions partner for Derby for a little over a year now, and we're looking at repositioning and he's this company with us to target a different segment, and Austin's going to explain to us, you know, how they've been going about it, and where they've been finding success, and how that can equate to your opportunities, and how best to have them help fit with what you have and your clients and your contacts, but also to let you know that they're also going to be much more involved in the process now, too, and are willing to take that role. So, Austin, I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, thanks. Really appreciate it. Thank Josh for the update on SHRM. As always, it's great interacting with that man, and as a brother in Christ, it's also encouraging to see how the Lord just has provided for his life. So make sure you pass along my gratitude and thanks to him. But, hey, Derby agents, again, Austin Evans, as Kevin kind of mentioned, I oversee the partner channel here in Fathom Voice. And so over the past year, you know, we've built the program, we've learned a lot from it, and we've transformed it I don't know how many times. But one of the things that we've learned mostly is, one, that we want to make as little as effort as possible for our agents to sell our product. And two, take on as much work as we can. So we're trying to provide that for the agent network, and I know last time we mentioned probably to you guys there was more work involved. So basically now with an agent of Fathom, we kind of leverage you guys as just the opening of the door, and then we try to work with you guys to get us in as soon as possible, because you're going to see during my conversation today we've kind of complicated the actual product that's being sold, and so you kind of need Fathom to come in as the experts. But with that, Fathom Voice was started about 8 years ago by co-founders Cameron Weeks and Bracken Fields, respectively, I think 26 and 27 years old today. Dropped out of Purdue, built the solution from the ground up, and as of today have or manage about 9,000 endpoints across the country. So growth has been extremely great, and so one of the things we want to talk about today is kind of how we're redefining communications and positioning ourselves better in the market as we've learned through the growth cycle where we niche better. So you'll see our tagline there. One of them is we measure conversations and not calls, and the way we do that is by actually providing a software application compared to a phone system or a telecom company. So what I want to talk about today specifically is that repositioning of our company. Before we were a cloud PBX provider or, you know, a VoIP company. Today we're a SaaS company that just happens to provide dialtone. And what I mean by that is we lead with our software and we give away all of our features. So the applications are the things that we're really focusing on from a business perspective. Analytics, web facts, queuing. These are things that we're building that are bettering our product compared to our competitors like Jive and RingCentral and 8x8 and Nextiva. You know, the many businesses out there that call themselves the hosted PBX providers. So the other big plus side for Fathom Voice in general is our Amazon global backbone. So one of the big things that customers are concerned about is, hey, you know, where is my phone system living? In essence, the software by which we provide actually lives inside Amazon. So having them as a backbone has been a great asset to us when talking to customers to give them that reassurance, you know, that your phone system will stay up, and allows us to move the conversation away from, hey, are you reliable, to tell me more about the software and how it can better my business. The last thing that the company's really expanded on is an API. So basically every single feature or application that Fathom now builds, we build it on a public API. And what that API allows you to do is develop our product into anything that you want. So we've noticed a change in the way businesses do business today, in that, you know, even the smaller 5, 10, upwards of 50 to 100 person companies have the ability to buy technology that now lives in the cloud, and that technology is increasing the efficiencies of their business. And one of those big ones is customer relationship management software. And so now that Fathom has a public API with every single feature and every single application, we're very much involving ourselves in more conversations with companies that want to actually integrate our product into their existing applications. So it's no longer, hey, buy this, concrete feature or this concrete phone system, to more, hey, here's the sandbox. What would you like to build, and how would you like to integrate, and what ways can we utilize this software to help better your business compared to, hey, give me your phone bill. I'll see if I can cut it by 20 to 30% and save you money. So we're drastically moving away from the price sale to very much the value sale with all these different applications, APIs, analytics, and Amazon Global Backbone that we have today. With relation to our niche of customers, so of course we have everything from 1 to 5,000, and they're all across different industries. Something I want to focus on is where we're beginning to define those, where we're having a lot of success and what that success is equating to. Software, marketing, and fast-growing companies. Why we chose these is because since we're pitching our product and marketing our product very much as a software solution, the software companies already get what we're doing. And so being that they sell a software, they provide a software, they understand what the value of software can be for their business. So the time from opening the door to close winning the sale is much faster with the company that understands the software that we're trying to sell. Marketing companies are excellent because they're also reselling our product. So, they're going to their customers and they're saying, hey, you're marketing your business in these different mediums. Well, what if we could provide another benefit in analytically tracking different numbers so you can get a better idea where the return on the investment is? So not only are they using our product and understanding it, but they're turning around and finding a value of actually reselling it to the customers that they might be providing marketing to. Fast-growing businesses are a great benefit for us because they need technology to stay up with how quickly they're growing. And so they need to make sure that they have an application or a software that will allow them to continually expand, not just employee-wise, but also location-wise. So those fast-growing businesses are very attracted to, hey, the software lives in the cloud. They don't really need to own anything on site, and then it provides them the applications and the mobility that they might need to work anywhere or provide any office that they might need. Sales and support teams are a great niche inside of a business. So, maybe you have a business that is outside of software marketing or a fast-growing business, but they have a large outbound sales team or a large inbound sales team, or with that manner they have a support team, or they have multiple departments with many people in those departments. So, very much a medium, large, or enterprise-based business. These are great because they drastically benefit from the applications that we have to provide, like the auto dialer, the analytics, the queuing. These are things that they're looking at and saying, hey, these different departments can benefit from these different applications that Fathom can provide. A lot of times in these larger sales, we're dealing with the chief marketing officer, the VP of sales, or even the CTO and CFO. Different from a hosted PBX provider or a dialtone provider, a lot of times you're going to be dealing mostly with the director of IT or with the CTO or with the controller. We're moving outside that realm now and pulling in the chief marketing officer and the VP of sales to say, how are you measuring your conversations? Your employees are making 40 dials a day, but do you know what those 40 dials a day are actually getting you? So we're getting buy-in from other departments into our solution so that by the time we go to the CFO, he looks at the dollar and cents and says, okay, well, you've got all these 3 other departments that want this product. I guess it's something we need to purchase. The other thing about our customers that they love is that the technology helps actually create efficiencies. So kind of talked a little bit before, when you pitch Fathom as a cloud PBX provider or as a VoIP provider, you're going in there and you're leading with, hey, give me your phone bill, I'll cut your bill by 20 to 60%, and we'll call it a day. And the customer specifically buying your service, not upon any value, but upon how much money you can save them. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. Market's changing. Everybody previously sold in that way, but commodities are becoming so common that the price is getting so low and commissions are getting cut drastically that there's got to be a different way to sell some sort of product. So Fathom is very much leading the conversation and saying, hey, I'm not going to guarantee that we can save you money. And if that's your biggest focus, here's these other companies of RingCentral and 8x8 and Jive that you can go talk to. I'm sure they'll be happy to do that for you. But if your business is focused on trying to learn about how you can actually take a software application and provide insight or direction or efficiencies, this is a conversation for you, and we'll be able to better provide direction and value and how we can create this as an offering for you that's affordable and also will provide a return on that investment. The customers themselves, we're finding, are 25 employees or more. We do have some that are a little less, and I'll give you an example of one of those. But just because of the complexity of the applications that we're selling them, very much they have processes, people, departments already in place, and so we're noticing that usually that's when you hit companies that are 25 employees or greater. Some of the success stories that we've had just over this past 6 months with moving from a cloud PBX or VoIP provider to the software as a sale. We had a hotel event booking customer that sits at 130 seats. Never once have visited their office, and they never once have visited ours. It's completely been a phone call, demo, multiple emails, back and forth type of sale. Before, where we probably would have sold 130 seats, at $18 or $16 per seat from a phone system or a VoIP solution, we sold this deal actually at $50 per month. So we're drastically increasing our per seat price when we immediately move the conversation away from, hey, do you want to buy a phone system that can save you money, to, hey, tell me a little bit more about your business, what your employees are doing, and how you would want to be able to further understand their day. And that's where the customer comes back and says, I have to have your solution, and here's what I'd be willing to pay for it. So what we did was we charged them $50 per seat, and then we were able to build custom analytics and then also some specific features to their needs. And quickly, one of those features that they requested from us was they wanted a feature that basically put a scoring on each call that came in. So like any business, they have some customers that they want a white glove. And so as that call comes in, they want the system to recognize, hey, this call is more important than any other call that comes in, so anybody in our queuing team needs to make sure they answer that call first. And so what we're able to do is actually score those phone calls for them and show them on the web user interface what calls their agents need to pick up first ahead of any other call that might be sitting in the queue. So they were extremely happy that, they now can build a solution around their business rather than be giving a solution and telling them to change their business to fit it. The other deal that we have is it's a GPS tracking software customer. So again, they're a software-based company. They sell software. They understand it. They built their own software. These guys are only 10 seats. They have more seats in their company, but they only wanted the solution for 10 seats to start. And they're charged $70 a seat. So again, a solution that at 10 seats you probably would have sold for $26.95 on a phone system side has now gone up to $70 a seat when we're talking about the applications. And the different applications that they wanted were Fathom Connect, Global Presence, pre-recorded voicemails, analytics, queues, and public API. The Connect product for us is basically a dialer. We have a dialer associated with our solution that you basically can integrate into any other app platform that you want because, again, there's a public API connected to it. So they're going to use that dialer to make outbound dialing campaigns. And then the Global Presence will basically switch out their caller ID to be the local number of wherever they're calling. So obviously statistics show, if I'm in Indianapolis and I call California, somebody from California is more likely to pick up my call if I have a California-based area code. And so what the system does is it automatically would translate your caller ID to be the caller ID wherever you're calling. So they love that solution. The pre-recorded voicemail, meaning if they don't actually get the user and they get the voicemail, they don't have to physically record the voicemail anymore. They can have the system just deliver the message however they pre-recorded it. So again, we're saving on time. The analytics, so they're getting insight every day as to what their employees are actually do, how many inbound, outbound calls are going on. The queuing function, again, I'm going to show you a little bit of web user interface. It's a real live queue from a web user standpoint that allows their agents to do more with less. And then the public API, so they have their own on-site development team. Not many businesses have this, but they did. And so what's amazing is we're actually getting them to pay $70 a seat, and they're building all of the integrations themselves. So our team is not having to do anything of this when they want to actually take all of these features and put them in their own CRM. So for Fathom, it's amazing that we're increasing the price per seat and decreasing the workload just because this business has a pretty interesting case study of having the software engineers on site. But again, not everybody has that. Like the hotel event booking business, they didn't have the developers, so we're doing that work for them. But good success stories to show that as we've migrated from selling a VoIP-based product to a software-based product, our price per seat's going up, and then our number of seats are going up as well, which equates to overall a better business because that customer's not going to leave us soon. Some of the different applications that we have available, and I'll show you two of these after I quickly run through them. Fathom Connect, again, is our auto dialer. So if you have sales agents that need to get through phone calls extremely fast, we can put a dialer on your computer that basically runs through a list of names that you might have available. And then with that, we have the option of having, the voicemail automatically left, or also changing out your presence, which is the global presence product. DID Analytics is the ability to track things based upon that number. So if you put a phone number on a billboard on the north side of town and then change the phone number on the south side of town, I can begin to show reporting as to which number is getting more calls. And I can show you more in-depth information to say, hey, not only which number is getting more calls, but I can show you where are you getting the more calls from, so to further give you insight as to where maybe you can spend some more money on marketing. Analytics is a piece of that DID. It's real-time reporting of the conversations that are actually having in the company. Again, Fathom doesn't want to just measure the calls. We want to measure conversations. We want to give you insight as to what your business is actually doing. And the last thing we have now is the Develop at Fathom. So, again, a public API of all the things that we have available so that you can go build out any type of user interface or any type of integration that you might want and any time that you want, because they're all public and we put them on our product. So that's kind of a quick rundown in the transition that Fathom's gone through in the last year. Future-wise, we're continually developing applications specifically focused on analytics and reporting. We're going to be developing a lot of queues, so better helping businesses that support customers or have to take incoming calls to give them further assistance in decreasing the amount of time it takes to get the resolution to an answer, or increasing the support that they're able to provide their customer. So what I'd like to do now in the next 5-6 minutes is actually show you just a little bit about what this product looks like and how it works, and then of course take any questions you guys might have after. All right, I just want to clarify that everybody can see my screen, correct? Kevin, can you guys see it all right? Anybody want to confirm they can see my screen?
I can see it, Austin.
Okay, cool. I didn't want to start talking unless people could actually see it. All right, so obviously this has never changed, right? So you're actually looking at the dashboard of Fathom Voice. This is an employee login. So you'll notice in the top right-hand corner, this is me logged into a web user interface that I now have the ability to manage and maintain. This product has really never changed. We've added a few features here and there, but pretty much it's all the same. The things that we're really beginning to add are analytics and queuing. So quickly, I want to show you what kind of the analytics tool looks like. A lot of people say, hey, my phone system actually does reporting, and I'll say to them, okay, does your phone system do reporting this beautifully, and does it do it in this simple of a manner? A lot of people have to export it to Excel and then run tangible reports and then get it spit back out to them, or your marketing team or your sales team has to go to your tech team and say, hey, I need a report on all the active calls going out for my sales employees, and we all know the marketing and salesperson hates going to the IT person to gather that information. So with that, the reporting that we're doing is beautiful, and it's simple, and it's easy to use for no matter who's in the business, whether you're marketing, your sales, your accounting, or you're an IT person. So looking at this solution right now, you see results for the last 7 days, the last 3 days, you can do live. The repetitiveness chart basically gives you insight into your employees. So how often an extension calls a specific number. So, I have a sales employee, and I tell him he's got to make 40 calls every single day. Well, what if he's calling the same number every single day? I probably would want to see that report so I can better provide information to that agent to better coach him and instruct him. Or for your support team, how often is a number calling in? Or from a sales team perspective, if your support team knows that 775 is calling in, 15 times a day, that might provide information to say, hey, we should probably begin to look at why they're calling us so much, and we probably should take some more time to provide feedback to them as to what their issues might be, so they're not calling us every single day with support calls. Call volume, it's the basic inbound, outbound. Number of conversations, the tagline, we don't measure calls, we measure conversations. So in this graph, I can set how long I believe a conversation to be, and then I can begin to report against that. So I can see over the past 7 days that Cameron Weeks, as of today, has had 2 actual conversations greater than 5 minutes in length. And so that will help me better understand, okay, Cameron's made 40 dials, had 2 conversations, whereas Bracken's made 40 dials but had 7 conversations. what is Bracken doing that's better than Cameron, and how can I provide that feedback to him so he can better his job? So that's the dashboard, quick overview. Here's more of the reporting that we're doing. So again, if I want to show you the different numbers that we're running on, you can actually select the start date, end date, what numbers you want to filter on, and then you can get an overview of how many physical calls are coming into those numbers over that time period that you may have selected. So this is more of the DID analytics. You know, how many calls are coming into this number compared to that number? Where are those numbers being located? Let's spend more money on marketing that place. And beyond that, what if I was able to show you a map? You know, so beyond, hey, this number is getting this many calls, what if I could tell you, hey, this number is getting this many calls and they're coming from here? So now we're looking at the actual territory of the country and saying, hey, you're spending all your marketing money on the East Coast, however, all your calls are coming in from the West Coast. So where should you begin to reevaluate that marketing strategy? Or from a sales perspective, your sales agent's territory is the East Coast, and now you see that they're continually calling the West Coast. Are they calling a girlfriend? Are they calling their mom? Or are they really trying to pick up business in the wrong territory? So just some of the few reports that we'll be able to do. Top performers gives you quick insight into, hey, who's making the most calls inside your business, how long are they on the phone, and what their average call time is. Again, attempts to conversations is saying, well, you know, I made 10 calls over the 7 days, and I've had actual 4 conversations. So really I have a 40% calls to conversations rate. From a sales perspective, you know, that's very good. So you can begin to quickly measure your employees and have that conversation with them as they come in and you critique their day, rather than having to go in through all the analytics of an Excel file and your IT team to get that information. Answer to abandoned calls, right? So I've got a success queue here. I've got 41 calls. 21 have been abandoned over the past, you know, whatever days I have. Give me details as to who those people are and how long they've been sitting in the queue before they abandoned. If I see anything outrageous like 22 seconds, that might be someone that actually got fed up and hung up. And so there's somebody that I want to make sure that we call back and make sure that their answer to their question was provided in a timely manner compared to when they probably dropped out of the queue. So just some of the few things that we're doing with the analytics. Again, I love this tool because it's getting built better every single day. The technology is now there. We're working with businesses to now say, what do you want to see? And they're providing input to us on the reports that they want to be able to run. The other thing that we're now doing is a queuing functionality, a real live queue. So again, you're looking at a web user interface. This isn't a software application that you must install on your computer. It's not a handset that sits at your desk. This is a website that you can log into no matter where you are in the country. And with this, I can actually begin to take and receive calls depending upon the queue that I'm in. So there's a lot of information here. I'm just going to highlight a few. Based upon your status, you can do different things. So there's offline, answer, on hold, in the queue. Based upon the status, the system will actually do things differently depending upon how you're routing. And once you're actually logged into the queue, it'll show you the queues that you're logged into, how many calls you've answered in that queue, what your average time is, and then what your total available time has been inside that queue. If we have a current call going on, as you see here, you know, if I'm talking to Cameron Weeks at this specific number, I can transfer him, I can hang him up, I can request for help. So let's say Cameron's calling in with an issue related to the local area network. I'm not the expert on the local area network, so I can actually filter for different skills, and it'll tell me who is. I can then actually physically request help from that person, and then once I do request help, I can chat with the person that I'm requesting help with. So they can listen in, they can whisper in, or they can chat me how I can better provide information to that customer. All the while, you know, I'm taking notes on the physical call inside the text box, and then I can also classify what type of call this was when I took it. Here's a history of all the calls that I might have taken in case I need to go back and recap any of those. And then here's a quick filter of all the clients that I'm speaking to that might be in a queue. You know, so if you have different permission settings, you can get an overview of all the different queues that you might be filtering. So, you know, I want to see the sales queue or the client success queue. Pull that queue up, and here's all the active numbers that are currently sitting in there. Here's the number they're calling from. Here's the queue that they're in, how long they've been waiting, the points that might be associated with their phone call. If they wanted a call back, here's the number that's sitting in there to call them back. And what we're doing now is we're beginning to say, hey, if I'm the manager and I recognize a number, I can actually jump in, steal that call real quick, and just have a nice little conversation with them, maybe surprise them and give them something for free, but completely discretionary now that I have that information available. So I don't want to take any more time than I have. I know I've been on the phone for probably about 25 minutes here. Just really wanted to impress the precedents that, you know, Fathom has changed. We're no longer a VoIP cloud-hosted PBX provider. We're very much a software-as-a-service company that just happens to play in the dialtone space. And so with that, the sale that we're doing is a lot more complex, but it's a lot more successful. And so the agents that we're working with now aren't selling our solution, but they're getting us in the door. And they're saying, hey, I know that you have sales employees. Have you ever been able to actually measure what they do on a day-to-day basis? No? Okay. Here's somebody I think you should talk to that might be able to provide feedback as to what you're doing. And so they're bringing us right in from the beginning, and all they're doing is sitting in the background, listening to our conversations, understanding the points that we're making, and then inevitably just going on for the next sale and then letting Fathom handle the discovery process, the demo process, and then the proposal process, and then lastly the install and onboarding process. So that's in essence what we've got going on with relation to Fathom. Feel free to ask any questions that you might have. I'm happy to answer them. And then, of course, you have the contact information associated if you ever want to try to reach out.
Hey, Austin, this is Kevin. I'll ask the first one. So if I'm an agent and I have some opportunities, in the past with Fathom, there was a whole lot of confusion as to what all I had to do and what I didn't have to do. And can you help us understand how that has changed now?
Sure, definitely. So in essence, you have, the partner success team here at Fathom will work with you on an individual basis to understand the opportunity. And then simply what you do is you submit the name and what their opportunity is and the situation that they might be. And then what Fathom asks you to do is to make an introduction of some sort. So really it's a referral. And then from that point on, Fathom takes on everything. We take on, again, the discovery process, the demo process, the proposal process, the onboarding process, the installation process, the support process. Fathom then takes on all of that because we're trying to help our agents begin to migrate into this, hey, let's not sell a commodity anymore. Let's not sell something based on price. Let's sell something based on software, on value. And then you make more commission, the prices are higher, the customer's stickier, but it is a little bit difficult for you to transition from that old school model to the new school. So we're trying to take on all of the work. We just want you guys to open up the door, sit in the background, monitor what's going on so that you can be more successful when you go out and try to find that next customer.
So you kind of mentioned more commissioning. How does it impact the commissions?
Commissions aren't impacted. If anything, they go up because your price per seat goes up. So that's never a bad thing. We're now starting to get some agents that are beginning to see, again, the software being sold. So, for instance, that $70 per seat deal was sold by an agent. He didn't sell it. All he did was open the door. And if it would have been him selling, he would have gone in and said, hey, what's your phone system? I bet I can cut it by 20%. But, however, what I said was, hey, I just basically said, open the door and let me show you how to sell this deal. So I sold it for him for $70. He's still making his recurring commission on that $70 deal. So he's getting the best of both worlds in that he just kind of gets to sit in the background.
Okay, Derby agents, I hope you heard that because that's what we talk about all the time here at Derby is that all of our partners, for the most part, are only looking for an opportunity, and an opportunity to tell their story and to do all of the research and necessary probing within the customer to understand where they fit best and how they can help your customer and take it all from there so that all you got to do is just open up the doors. Do we have any other questions out there?
This is Andrew Meltzer. I did have a couple questions. It seems like there's a pretty good shift in the offering. And so with that shift, do you have any product slicks that might invite a discovery meeting, something that could invoke a little curiosity on the part of any of these or marketing companies?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't have anything on the queuing because what I actually showed you isn't built yet. It's been completed, but the customer that's requested obviously gets access to it first. So we basically launch products by beta, alpha, and then live. So the product's currently in beta. So the queuing one I don't. The way you can get us into there is the simple conversations of, hey, you have a support team. Tell me a little bit more about the struggle that you have with actually allowing them to quickly and easily answer the call and then request help. What does that process usually look like for you? And if they go into the, well, we don't really have a way, you kind of transfer the call and then the user might get lost. okay, cool. Then there might be a conversation that you need to have with Fathom. And so that's the simple one with the queuing. But from the analytics side, I can definitely send you some slicks, as that one's become more of an actual application that we're out now launching full-fledged. And so I'd be happy to send you some more information on that one.
Right, because part of the
really good white papers.
Part of the struggle in presenting a beta tested product is that there's no referenceable clients that are utilizing that particular service. So I only ask, while you're, queuing up some materials that would support that maybe some of the customers you have helped that have ultimately utilized those services would be then referenceable. That would really help us.
Yeah, I can guarantee you these guys will be references. They're the ones that kind of first jumped in and gave us the chance. So they will for sure. And honestly, we've found after, again, I've got a direct sales team here that does a lot of the conversations with our customers too. What they're finding is that the customer actually wants to talk more about leading or making or creating something rather than buying something from somebody else. So they're coming into the conversation saying, hey, again, if you want a phone system, there are hundreds of other companies out there that have built that for you. However, if you want somebody that can actually sit with you and learn about you and begin to educate you on how we can better your business, and then you provide feedback to us, past us or to us and say, hey, we've always wanted to do something like this. That's basically how the conversation went with that hotel customer. They said, well, you know what, we've always kind of wanted to do this scoring on our phone calls. Do you think that would be a possibility? And as soon as you say yes, you've now opened the door for them to begin to create another business idea. Well, if you can do that, then can you do this? And so now you're really beginning to draw that attention of the customer saying, hey, we're not your cookie cutter, buy this and sell it here. It's very much more of a partnership, and they say, hey, you begin to tell me what you want. I've got a development team. It's a custom-built application. I own the software, so I can build it. But I'm not going to be the guy that comes in and says, hey, all right, here's the software that we have. Buy it or take it or leave it.
Understood. Have you identified this product to be viable with, let's say, call centers?
Yes and no. It's call center definition, like I'm sure you know, Andrew, is very vague. I've got a partner that brings me a call center that's really a 10-agent company that just happens to have 5 people inside their company that answer calls that might come in, every other day, and they call that a call center. So in that situation, this would by far blow them away. There's 2 companies out there that I say Fathom competes with in call center. InContact, which I'm sure you're probably familiar with, and then Interactive Intelligence. InContact is the behemoth, right? They do anything and everything that you might ever imagine with relation to a product. The only thing about InContact is they sell at, $125, $130 a seat. Interactive Intelligence, they're not as expensive. They're about $100, but again, their product's very clunky. So it's very much that you buy a phone system, it sits on site, it's a DOS window, and it looks very ugly. So it's very difficult to use. So Fathom's kind of sitting in the middle in that we're providing you not all the features of InContact, but we're providing you the basics of, or a little bit more of what you can do with an interactive intelligence platform, but with the user interface of InContact at the price of about, again, $70 to $80 a seat. So those call centers are interested in what we're trying to do now that we have this real live analytical custom view for all of their agents and their administrators to view on a website rather than on a physical hard DOS or phone type of manual. So it's a long answer for short response of yes, it just depends upon the situation of that customer or that call center.
And the level of sophistication.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Okay. All right, thank you. I don't have questions.
Yeah, great questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, do we have any more questions out there? Well, Austin, I really appreciate you taking the time to walk us through it and help us understand, how to position Fathom Voice with the opportunities that we have, especially with those corporate sales and marketing arms that are out there within our clients' businesses, and help them become more efficient and practical and and increase their sales as well. So I appreciate that and the update as well too.
Well, no problem. I appreciate the opportunity, and thanks again for your time, guys. Any questions, feel free to email or phone call. And again, if you have any questions for Kevin or them, they can get them to me as well.
Right, and guys, you see the number and the email address there as well. So if you have anything at all you want to reach out to them for, feel free to do that. Of course, you can also reach out through your Derby Agency mobile app, and this video presentation will be out there on YouTube on the Derby Agency channel on YouTube tomorrow afternoon. Appreciate everyone taking their time on this Out of the Ceiling Day to learn more about Fathom Voice and to get the update on SHRM, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks, everyone.